The Bite Me podcast is coming right up, and it is brought to you every week right here on YouTube by Freedom Boats. It is the best shallow running boat on the water, and there is a model perfect for you. The Chiquita 14, the Eagle 16, the Patriot 18, the Commander 21, the beautiful Warrior like I have 23, or the big boy that runs so shallow, the General 26. Chet Moore and Pooty can customize it however you'd like, and there's a dealer near you, whether it's the Boatyard in Kemah or dealerships in San Antonio, Beaumont, Corpus Christi, Port O'Connor, Houston, and Aransas Pass. Freedom Boats or freedomboatsusa.com. Welcome in to the Bite Me podcast, and appreciate you guys joining us here again today. If you're new to the show, we record every single Tuesday. We do not miss a beat at 3:30 p.m. right here live on YouTube, and of course dropping it at 6 p.m. Oh, I sounded pretty cool right there. We're dropping it at about 6 p.m. on all the podcast platforms. Appreciate you guys joining us. As always, Captain Dean Thomas is here. Captain Caleb McCumber is here. Captain Scott Null is here. We are all present and accounted for. And the rundown is piping hot, if I do say so myself. But I'm gonna start kind of off the rundown because I was thinking, during my day job, we spent a lot of time this week talking about one Lane Kiffin and all the nonsense that's been going on between Ole Miss and LSU. And at one point I said, that's a real Lane Kiffin move. And I went, I bet you there's some Lane Kiffin moves in fishing. There's some Lane Kiffin moves. In other words, if you haven't been keeping up, Lane Kiffin left Ole Miss hanging right as they're starting the playoff push. Poached some coaches, is sure going to poach some players. They haven't even played a playoff game, and he's gone, and kind of handled it crazy from beginning to end. So I posed the question on the Bite Me group page, which I highly encourage everyone to join. All you got to do is search Bite Me Fishing or Bite Me Saltwater on Facebook, and you can join the group, and we'll let you in. Just got to click on a couple of things, and we'll let you in. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. But I posted something on there, and let me call it up real quick. What's a real Lane Kiffin move in fishing? And the one that I immediately thought of, and I don't know why Dean was involved when I thought of this, but so you're fishing next to your buddy, and you get a blow up or you get a bite, and you're like, dang it. And as you're reeling in, you hear bloop. And Dean cast exactly where that bite was. I was like, Dean, that's a Lane Kiffin move right there, man. So you get the gist of it all. I'm curious what you guys think might be some similar Lane Kiffin moves. Do you have anything to say to defend yourself, first of all?
When that happens,
it does happen.
And it does. I can tell you, it does happen.
I do it on a positive note, not a negative note.
You're helping us. Yeah.
It's a team effort. We're all on the same team. And so as long as somebody catches the fish, that's what's important.
The boat catches the fish.
We're all on the same team here. It's not there's no I in podcast.
That's it. I got to remember that. There's no I in podcast. I'm actually going to write that down. But Caleb, you look like you're thinking of something. Caleb has been known to do the occasional Lane Kiffin move, but he does it either ironically or sarcastically because he knows that he's being a jerk when he does it. I think Lane was actually serious.
I do it mostly on purpose as well.
That's what I mean.
I do it. Man, the Lane Kiffin move in my mind, there's always this one guy and it's mostly like local tournament stuff where you have like the 4-man teams. And there's always the one dude that doesn't really have a team but knows some people. And so he fishes with 3 guys one year, and then the next year he fishes with 3 different ones. But all of a sudden there's 4 dudes in the stuff that you were fishing with him the year before. That's kind of a Lane Kiffin move.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. The thing about this is, and I'm not trying to take shots at anybody individually. It's more of a generalization. But if you marry a chick that has been through 3 divorces and then get all butthurt when she divorces you, I mean that's
you know what you're getting.
We're going here. You don't loan a bicycle to a person that steals bicycles.
That reporter was right.
Oh, that reporter is genius now. Called him a hoe.
Heaux.
Yeah, Heaux. Scott, I'm curious on yours because one thing that I saw on the comments and I know you've all probably experienced or seen this, I should say. Dude changes tournament partners mid-tournament. that is a Lane Kiffin move. What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, that would do it.
Mhm.
Now I had a young man that came around. He fished with me, and he wasn't making a lot of money. Youngster, and he kind of befriended me and just kind of hung out, and kind of pumped me for some information. And then
Oh no,
his whole deal was, man, I couldn't do what you do. I couldn't do what you do. I'd never. And he had some job in finance, an oil company, and no, it's not you, Caleb.
I was a landman.
But he as he went on, he kept it up, and then all of a sudden he came out with this big post about how he's doing his lifelong dream. He got his 6-pack license, and he's a guide now, and he's gonna take over the world. And I still played it nice at first, and I was going to Louisiana back then, and I had mucho overflow. I mean, I had way more guys coming than I could handle, and people were on a wait list. So I got with him. I said, "Hey, man, I've got a bunch of extras over in Louisiana. If you want to come over there and get you a good start, you have some good people." And they're all my regulars, and which I thought was really, really nice of me. And he says, man, I just can't afford to do that. That guide license over there is, $1,200, and place to stay and all that stuff. I just can't afford to do that. That's all right. That's cool. But the offer was there. It wasn't a week later, he came along and made a big post about how he was fishing in Louisiana, and he was fishing about an hour closer than I was to come see him.
Oh no, that is a big time Lane Kiffin move.
Oh yeah, and it was Louisiana too. So there's that.
Yeah. He's probably in Baton Rouge. No, I saw some. Obviously, we had the obvious throwing croaker. Is a Lane Kiffin move. I think you guys, all three, have had someone on your boat probably over the years that's like, you can tell they're just kind of picking your brain and probably have the guide thing in the back of their head, right?
Oh, no doubt. Hey, you know what though? Because we can't. I'm not even gonna let Dean get started on this, because we could go a long time on this one. But what about the guy that's like, man, we should ban croaker. When croaker gets banned, blah blah blah. What college coach is that?
Which we should ban croaker? Who's that? Sark?
That's Sark. It's like, yeah, okay, I get your theory, but it's not gonna happen, dog.
They do state a good case. It's just not going to happen.
Have they released the rankings?
No, it's 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock at night.
I mean, I've had that dude on my boat and I've actually had a couple that I've actually told them, it's like, man, I don't take other guides fishing. I don't take other captains. It's like, I just don't do it. And then I get the long drawn out, oh, I'm not gonna, do what you do. I'm not gonna, and I've been talked into it, and I've actually regretted it in the long run. But you kind of learn to fill out that conversation better as time goes on, and those people. But yeah, I mean, that's hard to explain those guys that don't want to go out and work for their own stuff. But those are, I don't know if, they just lack their own self-confidence, and maybe that's what
Lane.
I don't know about Kiffin and how he was on that one.
Well, he's going to land on $90 million ultimately.
Oh, well, I mean, that of course is his motivating factor. My motivating factor was like $800.
That's right.
Okay, I'll take your money. And
it's all relative. It's all relative.
I think I've had more aspiring guides on my boat that I've broke, and they said, after watching what this dude tried to do all day long, there's no way in heck I want to do that.
Well, all three of you guys do that. Well, don't do it. Don't do it.
Well, the most part on that is, I wish you all the luck in the world. Good luck. Come on. I'll show you. I'll make this shit There goes my first one.
I
I make this stuff look easy.
yeah.
I like it when people walk up to Scott and say, I'm going to be a guy, but don't worry, I'm not going to take your business. That was a beautiful day for me.
Yeah.
It's a gift that keeps on giving, too.
The other one, and I'm sure you guys have all experienced, hell, I've experienced this, and I don't even care. Kind of on the down low, and we're going to get to this today, by the way. Marking where you're going, and you can kind of what they're doing, like they're on their phone or whatever. They're marking either spots or tracks or all that stuff. I'm like, okay. At least last time I did that with Dean, I told him I was going to do it in advance. I said, hey, we went over to Hog. I said, hey, I'm going to hit this button right here because I want this track.
So Dean routed you over another shrimp boat.
Actually, we did get in some pretty shallow water, but it was in my boat, so it was all good. It was not that his is not good, but it handled it just fine.
I see people marking stuff all the time on my boat. That from that tower.
Yeah, you can see everything.
I can tell if you're sending dirty messages to your girlfriend while I'm driving. I can see everything you're doing, and they'll just be over there and then like I play the game. Like I really don't care that much. Like I might say, hey, I need this for the next 3 or 4 days, and then come have fun or whatever.
Yeah.
But I had this one dude, like dang near 70 years old. And every time he pulled up to a spot, he was on his phone. And like I said, I knew what he was doing. I was watching him do it. And we got there. I was like, man, every time we get somewhere, you over there checking that phone. He goes, yeah, my Instagram's going crazy. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh,
all right.
Okay. Is that what they call it now? That's what they call it now, I guess. Anything else before we get into I want to do a couple of rocks shout outs here, but Scott, I didn't know if you had anything to add on the whole Lane Kiffin stuff.
Now, most of mine, whenever they're back there with me, they look around and go, I hope nothing happens to you because I couldn't find my way out of here.
Back in the old days, guys would do circles and spins and going into places they didn't need to. Maybe even still they do it. I don't know, just to make sure nobody was getting a good, landmarks and stuff taken care of. But I do want to get some shout outs because Scott, I thought it was hilarious in a good way. You said you were, I guess, at Harbor Freight. You were a rock star.
Yeah, I pulled in. I was walking out of Harbor Freight, and there was a guy walking out of there. Furman, I think.
Furman.
I think that was what it was. I sent it to you. Forgive me if I mess that up, but now as we're walking out, he stopped. He looked at me, and I looked, and I was letting him go through the door, and he did the. Are you Captain Scott? We went out the parking lot, had a good talk. He's a longtime listener, kayaker, and fishes kayak tournaments, and him and his buddy, and he was all excited about it. And we sat there, talked redfish for a good bit, and then I had to get the HEB pickup thing was the time was coming. So I had to go across the parking lot to get over to HEB. But super nice guy. That's what we're talking about. We say it all the time. That's why I wanted you to bring it up. Is you see us out somewhere and you want to say hi, don't be scared to.
Yeah.
I got check this one out. And I've run into people around town that are always in obvious places where you kind of see people, you're in that crowd and they recognize and they bring up the podcast. I'm walking into the liquor store in Hebronville, Texas last week. I'm talking about the most
nowhere.
There is not another liquor store within 100 miles of Hebronville. And it's desolate. I mean, if you've been to Hebronville, ain't a whole lot of people just generally in the whole town. I'm walking in the door, and as this dude is walking out, he's like, Dean. And I'm like, hey, man, what's going on? Don't remember. It was Recindo. Had fished with him in the past and just randomly walked past the dude that I had fished with at Hebronville liquor store just last week. So the connection is vast. And I swear we were the only 3 people in that town at the moment.
I get stopped pretty much anytime I'm at Minute Maid or the rodeo or for some reason the local HEB. But the one that caught me off guard is I was in Wichita, Kansas last week in the ammo section of Shills, just buying some shells, and this dude walks up and goes, "You the turtle box guy?" And boy, it caught me off guard.
Definitely.
Yeah.
My favorite one happened probably 2 weeks ago, and I was down there in Aransas Pass, and I was cleaning my boat, and 2 boats down, there was this it's owned by a woman, and she brought a friend, and the friend stopped another woman, and she says, "John Lopez, I need to make my husband jealous." And I went, I'm listening. I was like, I was like,
He wanted barbecue sauce.
I said, I literally said, I said, "I'm listening." and she said, "Can I take a selfie with you?" And I went, "Oh yeah, okay, sure, we can do that."
But
That
did she lift her shirt up? whenever she was-
no, she didn't. She did not.
Did you lift yours up?
Yes, just the left side. I just did like that. Just the left side.
Ah,
You can't show all the candy. You can't.
You
can't
got
do that.
good genes.
That's right. That is a hand to God true story. She goes, "I need to make my husband jealous." I'm listening.
ah.
Anyway, let's get into it here with some of these topics that we have, and big stuff happening right now. You guys have been on the water this week. I have not, but the water temps officially plunging. Water temps dropping. Water temps what?
Cold.
Yeah.
Cold
It was 52 in Matagorda this morning.
and windy and
Yeah.
raining here. Well, yesterday it was raining. It didn't rain today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think it
it's
starts raining again tomorrow, though.
beautiful out there.
But no, the fall stuff, man. I mean, you get little glimpses of it. I hope this is November this month. That'd be really cool.
It's December.
I know. I hope that it actually.
You mean it turns into no? Yeah. Gotcha.
I had somebody text me this morning and said, "Hey, I'm looking to book a trip first week of January. Do you think it's going to be any good?" And I said, "Well, the fishing guide answer is yes, it's good. Come on down." But I have no idea what it's going to be. Everything's been late. Everything's been off. I'll tell you a couple of days before. That's all I can give you right now. It's been wild.
Yeah, I pulled into the post office yesterday, and my postmaster, who listens religiously, old Reggie, he walked up there and he said, "Oh man, I thought you'd be on the water today." And I looked back over my shoulder at the window and I said, "Have you been outside?" It was blowing 30, mist and rain, and 41 degrees.
See, but there's a whole group of sickos that are still in their teens and 20s that like, this is time to go catch a big trout, and they stand out in it. I used to be one of them. And statistically, I've caught less good trout on those crappy days, but somebody filled I don't know if it's Too Cool's fault, the saltwater fishing magazine, somebody bamboozled us.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's get into it. Let's talk about the water temp. What, by the way, around the horn real quick, what are the latest water temps? I don't know if you were out in some of this mess, but I'm sure you've heard and looked. What are the water temps upper, middle, and lower coast? Dean, we'll start with you.
Ours is right at, well, it dropped down in the upper 50s, but today it's up in the 60s again.
Scott?
Just looking.
Yeah, exactly. I got to look faster.
61.
Yeah. Okay. So they are dropping.
But as cold as it has been and windy, I was expecting it to stay a little more consistently colder, where the mud under the water would cool off and it would keep that water temperature down. But I mean, it still wasn't long. I mean, it hadn't been cold for 2 weeks. It hadn't been cold long enough to cool what is under the water down to where it doesn't warm up, it doesn't rebound so fast. And I've been spending way too much time at the ranch. I mean, it has been. Here's a funny little side story to why I didn't go fishing this weekend. Spent 5 days at the ranch, was so ready to head home. As much as I love that place, I was like, I'm sick of this place, man. I am ready to get back to civilization. Loaded everything in the truck. Going home, I'm like, man, I'm sleeping in my bed tonight. It's going to be awesome. Walk into my room where I'm sitting, and I look at my table where my computer is missing, and I said,
Oh no.
Oh my God. I left my computer bag
Oh. Oh.
and everything of the one thing that I did. And I blame Carrie. It was her fault. It was not my fault. Because we're at the ranch. I took everything for the podcast last week. No Wi-Fi at the house. I ended up doing the podcast on my phone in the pasture. So for Thanksgiving dinner, where I had all my computer set up, I didn't want to have all my crap on the table. So I put everything in my bag, tucked it over in the corner where it wouldn't be anybody's way. So when I packed the truck, the computer bag is not on my normal inventory checklist. Drove off and left it. So was home for a grand total of 12 hours. I did get to sleep in my bed, but got up.
You had to drive
morning,
6 hours back and forth?
Drove back to the ranch, spent 2 more days there because why the hell am I going to go for a round trip?
Yeah.
And so, yes, that is how that all took place.
Good gracious. That dang Carrie, man. I'm telling
Yeah, I mean, if she would let me leave anything on the table for more than 5 minutes, we wouldn't be telling that story.
Yeah, if we're talking about dumb crap, my window, I didn't drive my truck. Let's say it's like Saturday, Sunday, into Monday. So when all these fronts are coming through in the rain and everything, I left my window down, the one that faces due north. Just enough that you couldn't tell it was down, but just enough that it turned rain into a fine mist. That way it floated all the way to the side of the truck that didn't get direct rain drops on it. Oh boy, you want to talk about going through a roll of paper towels in the middle of the parking lot. Jeez, oh Pete.
So Scott, you said, what are they, 61? You said something like that. But let's get into it because it's going to be that time. And by the way, we'll get into what would you guys do later. But the weekend starting Friday, I believe, starting to look pretty good. So let's get into some of these cooler water, sort of strategies. I know it's kind of general, but we need a refresher here for some of our listeners, especially like Dean said, Scott. The mud, the sand, is that going to be one of the places that you start? When do they start deep? When do you throw deep? I had that question about a month ago. Somebody said, when do you start throwing deep? When do you go shallow? That stuff, just general cooler water temps, things that you're looking for. You've heard Mark Nichols on the podcast, and he's caught more fish and changed the fishing game like few others. Mark and DOA Lures have everything you need and want on the water. That's what we use. DOALures.com is the website. Of course, you got the classic DOA shrimp, but top waters as well. I'm a big fan of the PT7. You see us using that all the time. That is DOA. Get to a retailer near you. They are all over. Or go to DOALures.com and be sure to listen for Mark Nichols on this podcast. They have revolutionized the fishing industry, and they keep doing it. DOALures.com.
Redfish, man, they'll scoot right back up there as soon as the sun comes out. Yeah, they may fall off while it's windy and that temperature drops pretty hard. I was looking at it; it plummeted down pretty quick with that front and all that rain and everything. We're gonna have more rain starting tomorrow afternoon. It's not quite as cold as this last one, but it's north winds blowing 20, 25, dropping down in the low 50s. So water temperature is going to drop back down again, probably into the 50s. Like you said, it was 54 this morning at 9 o'clock and then 62 right now. So you get a sunny day or two, it'll rebound pretty quick. But they're showing just overcast and mist and rain and all that through early Saturday with north winds. And then you start getting that east wind, it'll start picking back up again. Biggest thing for me is the tide. If it blows all the water out, then you got to go to the drop off. You don't have a whole lot of choice. Where I found them on the last front when it blew the water out, it was hard to get to them, but across all the flats where the mouths of the little bayous were, they're always just a foot or two deeper. They didn't buy in that it was real winter. They didn't leave out of the backwaters. They just went to the mouths of the bayous and stopped, and they stayed in that little deep water right there. We'd ease up to those. If I could shove it across the mud to get to them, there was plenty of fish just hanging out in those. So I knew the next time the water came back up a couple of days later, they were just going to go right back into the marsh. This isn't one of those fronts that blows them off deep, not in my opinion. I think they just dropped off into those little deeper little holes, 2 or 3 foot deep around the bayous, and they're going to filter right back in as soon as the water warms up and the water comes back up a little bit.
A good thing to take into account. It's just like me making fun of the go out and stand in terrible weather just because somebody told you terrible weather is when you catch a big fish. There's stuff associated with it where not all bad weather is created equal. There's barometer changes and wind directions and stuff that actually make that work instead of it just looks miserable. Let's go catch a fish. It's the same thing with winter fishing. It is there's not one set rule of, well, the water's cold, it's cold outside, we got to go fish a deep spot with mud in the bottom of it. You have to look at the other variables. Has it gotten cold and stayed at a temperature long enough for that fish to regulate to that temperature and get used to it? And then, like Scott said, is it a warming trend? If it's a warming trend, that cold-blooded creature, he doesn't feel cold. The water's getting warmer, so he will come up on the flats. He will hang out in the grass. The only times that we really just go target the drop with the mud and all that stuff, the fish they're seeking refuge there, and they're seeking refuge because their body hasn't gotten accustomed to it. There's not anything warming them up and that sort of thing. So that's the danger with reading the threads on fishing forums or stuff, is you're getting a very small piece of the puzzle of all of it. So like Scott was saying, if they've acclimated and it's getting warmer, then they're not going to act like they're trying to fight for their life in the bottom of a mud hole.
What about
it's cold. It's cold, but it's not January cold.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference between it was 70-degree water temperature a week ago, and then it's 60 this week, compared to it's been 50-degree water temperature and then it drops down to, or it's been 58, 59, and then it drops down in the low 50s. That's a whole different game.
Yeah. What about behavior, Dean? What's the behavior on the for where we are south?
That's kind of what I was going to lead into on that. And it's not, do they go deeper, do they leave, or do they go somewhere else? It's what you do to get them to bite, what you do to catch them. Then you go subsurface, then you slow everything down, then you be more patient. Then I will be more methodical about hitting every grass bed, every sand hole, instead of the warmer water where you're just, covering massive areas really faster, is not going to pay off as well as going slow, going with something weedless and giving them more time to look at it and think about it to come and bite it than, running it past them and expect them to chase it with a little more intensity, so they're going to be slower, but, our fish are going to still be, even through January, they're still going to be on those flats. They're going to be on the edges of the flats near deeper water, especially in the afternoon. And then, we're getting to that point where you don't got to be out there at daylight either. You can launch much later in the day. I know Caleb, boy, he's like, that's my kind of stuff. But like today, if I would have been fishing today, I would have suggested launching at 10 or 11 o'clock and fishing through the midday. I mean, it was low 40 degrees here, and it was rough out there crack of dawn. But man, this afternoon, absolutely beautiful. Right now is when you want to be out there looking around.
Late afternoon and right before dark this time of year can be absolutely magical. Most of our big fish, Taylor Ross shared a picture the other day. I can't remember anymore. We had 10 over 28 or something. It was stupid. And they started eating right at dark, and by 6:30. And when we left the dock that day, I said somebody's gonna have a 30 by dark. And I think it got dark at 6, and at 6:30, Robert caught his first ever 30. Because the water's warming up all day. The warmest that water is going to be the entire day is pretty much the first hour of dark. and that they were sliding up. They were sliding up on the edges. It was late November. It was a colder November than we had, so it's kind of equivalent to here. But right at dark, those fish started sliding up, and they stayed there all night long.
Yeah, Scott, I actually put it on the dock just as a editorial statement. I love a good midday moving tide. Doesn't matter which direction, midday to what Caleb was talking about. I want to get your thoughts on that, and of course the proverbial, what are you throwing? Does anything change? As the cooler water temps are happening.
Well, as far as the tide, when you've got that falling tide late in the afternoon after a full sun day, all that water that was up there, up shallow, got warmed up by the sun. Got the mud bottom, and as that's falling off, those fish will turn on really well. Incoming tide, and when you've had the colder water, it's bringing some of that deeper water back up on the flats. It might slow them down just a little bit. This is not, like I said, this isn't January. This isn't February. So I don't think it's having a huge effect on them right now. As far as what I'm throwing, I'm gonna throw the same things. Little paddle tails and top waters. And that's about it. I mean, there's really not much reason to change what you're doing right now. You're not into that dead of winter where the only thing left is some bigger mullet. We got a lot of small bait fish out there.
The other thing, Dean, you touched on this, being more diligent, more, regimented in approaching it. And like everybody's talked about here, it's not February. It's not, that cold yet, but it's cooling. What do you do when you try to like just maybe, hammer out? I mean, just grind it out on a particular spot. Is this something you would try to do right now?
No.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. It hasn't been cold long enough for me to shift gears to that mode yet. I mean, shit. And plus the water temperature moved up to upper 60s, middle 60s now. I mean, a good sunny afternoon, I'm throwing top waters all across those grass beds. I mean, I'm still expecting some vigorous activity, especially in the afternoon. And then if it coincides with a good moving tide, I mean, you're just not going to see that shift in their pattern yet. And I mean, we didn't have a November. I mean, it was 93, 96.
We really didn't. We really didn't have a November.
So, we kind of we've been talking that all year, we're like, man, fall's coming. Just wait till October. And man, October was like another September. And
we need to quit talking about stuff.
And November was like September. So it's and Caleb, I mean, we've heard Caleb say that for the last couple weeks, that it's just a month or 6 weeks behind schedule on the normal rhythm of what we'd be doing out there.
Go ahead, Caleb.
If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. My favorite water temperature to fish redfish is 60 to 65. And I've probably not said this 1,000 times, but my favorite water temperature to fish trout is 55 to 60. I mean, I love those two zones. The trout get predictable and do what they're supposed to do, mid 50s, and the redfish, they tend to clump up and go hunting little stuff at mid 60s. So I guess mid 60s in the fall. How about that?
Yeah. Or just the water temp in general. Nestor says, what would you guys consider a good drop off in terms of feet in depth? Obviously, that depends on the base system, right, Scott?
Yeah, in some bays, there's gradual drop offs. Where you and Dean are, you got some pretty sharp drop offs. I've got some that kind of slope off. Where I'm up really shallow up against the grass, and it's foot and a half, and then it kind of slowly goes out to 2 or 3 feet, and then slowly drops off 4 or 5 feet. I don't have those real sharp, hard drop offs. So what I've been doing over the last few weeks on these lower tides, the lower tides have affected things more than water temperature. And I've just gone out just a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper and a little further away from the bank on those big flats. And I can, at some point, I'll find what depth they want to be. And it changes throughout the day a little bit. The other day they were up super shallow early, and then they dropped off into about a foot and a half later in the day. So you just got to play it by ear and adjust throughout the day and start experimenting. Some, like that day, everything was working great. They were up shallow, and then all of a sudden they weren't. And I was kind of scratching my head, and I was, well, hell, I'll just slide out there a little bit further. And there they were. And it was like they had all moved out. No real reason. I mean, the water was about the same level. Everything was pretty much the same. But for whatever reason, they decided that that's not where they wanted to be. So you just got to stay flexible and kind of move around a little bit. And when you get into a bite, pay attention to what you got. And if you get out of the bite, start looking for something else.
I want to get into. Go ahead.
Well, I was just listening to Scott as he's talking about the difference or the variety in those here around Redfish Bay, and if you go across to East Flats over on the backside of Mustang, we have a good variety of both of those, where we have really shallow flats that just gradually slope off in about, I mean, when you're talking distance wise, to make more sense to the folks listening, I mean, you start drifting shallow and you can drift, quarter of a mile or a half a mile, and it'll go from 1 foot to like 2 or 3 feet on just a long sloping drop off that leads towards much deeper water that never really comes to an abrupt edge. It just slowly slides off to deeper water. And we'll be looking at both of those in the next couple of months. I mean, you're not going to just focus on one and spend the whole day there. If one's not working out, then you have that other option.
Go ahead, Caleb.
I mean, is 6 inches average in America?
Depends on what you're talking about.
Well, in Matagorda, we're really proud of a drop off that's 6 inches. So
yeah, we've been known to do that down south as well. But you also have some with the oyster shell and the oyster reefs. You have those bumps in the road, so to speak, that create the drop off and obviously the structure.
Yeah, you're giving away Pat's secret fishing plan right there. It don't necessarily get deeper. It's just got oysters and some mud wallers around it. That's
with Pat.
That's that man's secret right there.
For 25 years,
he tells me there's a drop off over there, but I'm not going to walk over there and find out because it's too dang muddy and shelly to do it.
That's right. Okay, so we got a couple other things I wanted to follow up on with this, but I'm going to save them because I think they're standalone for next week about corkies and what bait is doing as the water temps get colder, because clearly we're in the season where we think it's going to get colder. But I want to get to the spots and the marks discussion because I think it's going to be fun for one thing. But also we mentioned it earlier about how sometimes you see people marking spots and all that. And it was a conversation that I want to have. I'll start with Caleb on this one because you brought up this thing. He's like getting called in class.
Remember what happened last time you started with me, John?
Yep, that's why I did it again. That's why I did it. That's why I did it again. I'll put it this way: do people obsess over spots and marks unnecessarily?
I think the biggest mark, and I'm not even saying this to be edgy or cool or rude or whatever. I think the biggest mark of somebody that is not a developed fisherman and frankly still kind of in the amateur ranks is just locking in about marks and tracks and stuff. I think it's the dumbest thing on the planet. Now, that being said, I fish Louisiana and upper coast and stuff. Maybe there's like a magic grass bed down south or something, but my GPS has, I think, almost 3,800 waypoints on it. So I'm not saying don't mark them. All I'm saying is they're kind of a reference. Tracks, you've lost your mind if you follow somebody else's tracks. I've the 2 boats ago, I sold my boat to a really good friend of mine, and 1 boat ago, I sold a boat to a really good friend of mine. I said, look, I'm gonna leave all the tracks on it. Hopefully it helps you. However, I wouldn't follow one of them because some of them take a really high tide. Some of them go 15 miles out of the way when it shouldn't. Getting bent out of shape about tracks and points is, good Lord, man. There's so much other things to be worried about.
Nobody gets bent out of shape about it, do they? Or have you not been online?
I mean, I really can't wrap my head around what happened were we talking about that? That's weird. I didn't even think we were talking about.
I just asked a question, Caleb. You're going somewhere I didn't even have any idea about.
I mean, Marks, they're I tell you what, if you don't go out there and learn it all on yourself, you just suck.
and then, okay, it's a great talking point, debate point, that got completely out of hand. Some of the folks here may have seen it, that the Real Housewives of Redfish Bay are cranking it up very early this season. We're not on lockdown for the frozen tundra where people are spending too much time in front of their computer screen and they get a little frustrated and one thing leads to another. And then we get into these big, man, I don't know, it's debates and arguments and name calling and, your mama can't fish and everything else like this. But, it's just a sign of how the season's going to go on the internet.
It's an indicator. Yeah, it's going to be a bad year.
To get into that argument, I mean, Caleb couldn't have said it better. Those mean nothing. If those mean something to you, you aren't good at this. I mean, you are not going to be good at this game if you're thinking that the track that led you to a back lake somewhere is going to equal fish for you.
Let's talk about the most important thing between you and that potential fish of a lifetime. Lines and leaders. Seaguar, truly the best. They've been doing it at the highest level since 1971. People always ask, what do you throw? I throw Seaguar. The double structure fluorocarbon is virtually invisible in the water and has exceptional strength and castability. And if you love and trust Seaguar Fluoro, you're going to love the braid. Man, bait casters, spinning reels, inshore, offshore, it's the absolute best and the only braid I throw. It's Seaguar, the best quality, the most trusted name in the game. Get to a great retailer near you like Fishing Tackle Unlimited or Anglers Anonymous. Visit Seaguar.com. That's Seaguar. Seaguar, always the best.
See, I would argue that my points might mean something to me, but to think somebody else's points mean something to somebody else, like that.
Exactly. Yes.
It's like the dang connect the dots with no numbers on it. Like, what do you do with this?
And everybody knows that, certain lakes and certain areas are historically good for fishing. And it's not where you fish, it's how you fish when you get there. I mean, there's tons of information about a lake on a shoreline somewhere. Great. Who doesn't know that? But what you do when you get there, how you approach it, is the difference between yay or nay on your success.
I've pre-fished 3 or 4 tournaments around your area, Dean, and I've fun fished a couple of times with you. And I dare say there's not a dang thing that's a secret in that area.
For sure. So when Caleb says he pre-fished 3 places in my area, he means he
3
fished,
days. 3 days. I spent 3 days fishing.
He fished 9 Mile Hole.
No.
And then he fishes in Redfish Bay.
Now you're just making shit up.
See,
now you're one of those people.
So when he says an area, he's talking about 600 square miles.
No. What I'm saying is like there's this big argument about, oh no, you saw the secret route to whatever. Dude, we roll into town and we're gonna spend 3 days above the causeway and 3 days below the causeway, give or take. Over there at Docks or whatever that place is called, Market 37. In 3 days, we have went and looked at. There is nothing we haven't went and looked at. There's no secret spot out there. I don't understand why people getting their blood pressure all up about it. It makes no dang sense. It's stupid. It's the same people. Again, not trying to be a jerk, just saying what I think and what I've been through in the industry. I've been the dude to make the dumb post on social media, or not social media, but like too cool and like arguing with this guy. And the longer you're in the industry, the longer the less it matters to you. And it's the same folks that post the picture of, oh, look at this boat, look how close they were, they want to be me, they're just pot lickers. Dude, man, you want something to be upset about, go rewatch the stupid TU game, but not a stupid track.
We're not talking about that. Scott, go ahead, because
For those who weren't paying attention or don't get on the social media, I wish I didn't
Scott's
have
about to
to.
name. He's going to do it.
No, I'm not dropping any name. There's a young guy that he listens to our podcast. He's sent us questions. He's asked questions. He's a good young guy. And then there's an old fart. Not old. He's just a fart. He's out there in Dean's area, and he stirs up more crap with more people. The young guy bought a boat that had a GPS on it, had some tracks on it, and now the fart guide thinks that the young guide is just using those tracks to become a guide.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how you.
And like, there's no interaction between them. It's not like you ran into my spot and ran me over.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, somebody fished in your boat and said there was tracks on it. Why do you care?
Yeah, that's exactly it. The big day was, Dean said it's not, winter time yet. It was a day of rain and cold and wind and all that, and these guys don't have anything better to do. I mean, I got a million things to go do on those days that I've been putting off because I've been on the water. I would much rather go do that than argue with somebody online about tracks. And like Caleb was saying, tracks don't mean a damn thing. I mean, people get on my boat all the time and look at my GPS. I don't even have a track. I
follow my own tracks sometime. I'm like, I really feel like I shouldn't be doing this.
On yours, if there's a spot that runs to somewhere and it stops, that might not mean a good thing. I mean,
yeah, that's right.
It's going straight and there's a bunch of zigs back and forth. That's called rocking the boat.
Yeah, I'm thinking that stopping point is something I might want to avoid instead of going over there.
Look, he shut it down right here. It's silly.
So I know you all will have more on this, but just to kind of clarify where I stand on all this, and maybe some of our listeners are the same. When I had a bunch of tracks on my GPS, was lazy, didn't erase them. Dean was on my boat. He goes, man, I can't even see anything. It's all black. I said, yeah, I need to delete those. So I deleted all of them except the ones, and I've said this on the podcast before, that I know certain times of year you want to go back there or a certain depth. And you've seen this, Dean, on mine. I'll have a track that has a greater than sign 1.5. That means I can get back there if it's, a foot and a half.
I couldn't see jack crap on your GPS.
Well, you can now.
All I saw was a blacked out screen.
I deleted them. So I kept the ones that I know, okay, I need this one because I can only go back there, when the tide's this high or whatever. And I did one the other day exactly like that. And then the other thing that I've talked about is if there's a spot that consistently at a certain time of year, I use the date. I use the date that I was there. I'm not saying it's magic, but it's a starting point. Maybe that's where I'm going. A lot of my tracks are a starting point. It's not like come here, catch fish. You know what I mean?
You know how many tracks I have on my GPS?
I've seen it. Yep, I've seen it.
0. I don't record a single track as I'm running around. There's waypoints that are marked because if I'm like headed to a shoreline that's a long distance away, I want to go a straight line to it. So I'll zoom out to where the little dot is, and it keeps me going in a straight line and makes me not paying attention for a minute, but keeps me from going out of the way to get there. But I mean, those are things. And back to and yeah, he's not old, but Mr. Fart Guide. I follow that idiot's social media strictly for entertainment, man. It's like, who is gonna crap in this boy's Cheerios today? And the fact that people are still, entertained or participating in that. It just that bewilders me.
I mean,
You-
we're
you
not crappie fishing, you know. I get it. The crappie guys, they put out their brush piles and they keep them
Yeah.
secret and they try to do all that. And all that's out the window with all this forward-looking stuff now. But I get it on that. Saltwater ain't that way. You know, there's some reefs out there that you need to know where they are, but everybody knows where they are. You know, there's not secrets out here. You know, there's not some secret hole. There's not some secret back lake. Everything's available. It's all out there. You
I'll
know,
digress that I have lots and lots and lots of marks of reefs that are like 5-6 foot deep, pretty obsolete. Not a whole lot of people know about them. And every once in a while, if I'm close to one, I'm like, I'm gonna go drift over that mark and see what's happening. But that's it as far as like, oh man, you know. And I mean, in theory, I would let anybody have them. No, I'm not going to take time to make a bunch of copies of my dang card. But in theory, I'd let anybody have them because they're just scattered all over the place. And it's, you know, this one, it's more of a, there's a color streak here, and this little mark showing me there's a reef that's right on that color streak. I'm going to go check it today. It's not like we're going to, you know, this is what we're going to go fish every day or anything.
And in John's defense, good, and it kind of relates to everybody's learning curve, learning process. John has been fishing how long over here in Redfish Bay?
3 years now.
3 years?
Yeah,
We're
3
coming
years.
up on 3
Yeah,
years.
yeah, a little over 3 years maybe.
And when John first started exploring him, and my advice to him, the same advice that I give to everybody else, is pick one spot, one flat, and learn it like the back of your hand. Learn how to fish it when the wind is blowing every direction, and learn how to fish it when the tide has many varieties. Once you've learned that one, then branch out to the next one. And then once you've mastered that, because if you try to master all of it at one time, it's overwhelming. You can't remember it. It's hard to recall that. So laying those tracks on your GPS through those first couple of years, whenever it's not etched in your memory to the point to where when the tide is here today and the wind is here today, I know what cut I'm going to use. I know how I'm going to approach this flat. I know where I'm going. So during the learning phase,
right, that's what I'm talking about.
And so that is why I was giving you a hard time, because I was like, I mean, we came around that corner at, under the bridge around Conroe Harbor. I was like, you literally could not see the screen. It was 100% blacked out. And that's what my point was. I was like, at this point, you know, you can erase all of that and do those.
Yeah, no,
so
I did.
There's a time and a place for those tracks. And then there's a time that they really just don't matter anymore.
And the other thing, getting back to the marks. Well, you know what? Let's talk about this first, because I've sold 4 or 5 boats, you know, whatever it is, the number. I can't remember ever like erasing the tracks and this. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like Matagorda, where I had a boat and I sold it to a guide, actually. I mean, I had not nearly as many tracks because I know that place for 25 years, but I had a lot of marks. And it's like kind of like what you're talking about, Caleb, maybe a reef, maybe this one, you know, kind of Midday reef that a lot of people don't know about that I fished. It's a starting point because the reefs are big, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's arguments the other way. You know, I try to be fair in bumping my gums and going both ways. I delete tracks because you know, my tracks are going to show you what lakes I really frequent a lot, and then it's going to break it down to what corners of the lake that you know, what little pieces of it that I'm just trolling in circles and figure eights in. But it's a very small tidbit of the overall picture of tracks. You know, I've got relieving the diversion. I've got a track there, and that track's very important to me, especially if it's dark. And then the other one is just information. Bay fishing, it doesn't help you at all. If you looked at my GPS, it would give you an idea of the 4 places that I spend the most time looking for a redfish. But do I spend that time in the fall, summer, spring, winter? That's a whole different story. But I mean, there is an argument for deleting your tracks and why they could be valuable, but they aren't to the point of some dude just losing his mind over it. And the other guy, you know, I know him all right. We talk a lot. He's just a nice dude trying to go out and do some fishing. And, he's a young guy and he wants to be a guide. More power to him, because you know what? This dude, from what I see, reading it and my impeccable comprehension skills that I'm known for, um, I see a dude that he's one of the, oh yeah, there's a new guide behind every bush, screw them all. Well, I am in that class. I am in the age of guide now to be, man, there's new guides everywhere. Can't stand them. But whenever I came into the game, Scott was in the class. Man, there's new guides everywhere. I can't stand them. When Scott came into the game, Mickey and them, it's always been that way. We were always the new guy. And I remember very little whenever I first started in Matagorda who was nice and welcoming to me. I really don't remember that very well. But I remember the one asshole that made the comment in front of me, all these new guides everywhere, they need to go find something else to do. And that day was my mission to be out here more with more business than he does. Like I drive off of that one guy being a jerk.
Sure.
There's no reason for it. There's no reason for it. I mess with people, but I feel like I do it with a good heart, and like I want everybody to succeed. For somebody to go out of their way to be a jackass to somebody that's trying to get started, it's unnecessary. And frankly, that's what gets you talked about on this show for 20 minutes.
I remember vividly the one butthole standing right there on the ramp that inspired me to crank it up to a new level. I mean, dude was in a weird way inspired me to go the extra every day to just like watch this, watch this. And it was over there at the boat ramp where we cross paths every day, and to this day his ass is out of the business and mine is still in it, so suck on that.
Go ahead, Scott. Because the whole concept of spots and marks and obsessing over, to me, I texted you guys this when we may or may not have been sending screenshots to each other, but it's insecurity. It's insecurity in what you can really do.
That's exactly the dude that's happening to. That's what I messaged him. I'm like, there's no other reason for this than insecurity. And like person B didn't have anything to do with person A's insecurity, but he just caught it. And you catch that a whole heck of a lot. I really get it, because I'm a younger guy, in here with Scott and Dean and you doing a show. We started this when I was in my late 30s, and like, you're not qualified to be up talking on the. Maybe I don't know crap about fishing, but I'm good at talking about it.
Yeah. Well, Captain Mickey was mine.
Yeah.
I told you that.
Yeah.
Mickey told me when I was starting off, man, you're going to starve to death on that poling skiff. Ain't no way. You can't fly fish in Galveston. You'll never make it. You can't. You're going to be right there with the rest of us, drifting in deep waters and catching fish and wade fishing and doing all that. Yeah. There I am 20-something years later, still on a poling skiff, still doing what I do. And I think it's turned out okay.
Yeah, I think it has.
There's nothing like getting insulted when you're late. Scott, is there anything like getting insulted when you're in your late 60s trying to start a business?
All those years ago,
man. I figured at his age back then he would have been a little bit better at taking some trash. But
but it didn't bother me. It was just one of those little motivating things of I've known Mickey forever, like Mickey. We've hung out together a good bit, and just when he was just shaking his head about it, and he's like, you ain't gonna make it. You ain't gonna make it. And I said, well, you just sit back and watch me. I'm gonna make it. It's fine.
Well, just put a bow on this. I said like it's insecurity. It is also just perplexing to me, and it goes back to something that we've touched on a lot of times here. The whole reason we do this, Scott, is to help people catch more fish. Is to help them catch more fish. I've said it before. You've said it before. I can, find someone at the ramp as I'm loading my boat. How'd you do? Did great. Killed him. Where were you? I'll tell them I was over here. Now obviously the specific things of what I'm doing, who knows if they're going to do them,
I tend to tell them more of the specific things I was doing than where I was.
Yeah.
I tell them what the conditions were. They were up shallow. They were in the back lakes, and and then start talking about what we were throwing or what I was seeing as far as small shrimp or something.
Mhm.
But as far as just telling them exactly where I was, I'm probably not going to do that because I may need to go back there tomorrow
Yeah.
and have customers coming.
Right. You
But-
got customers. I'm like, go knock yourself out.
Yeah. But telling them, I've always said fishing reports are a whole lot more important to dive into to see what the patterns were and what was going on and what people were seeing instead of spots. We don't talk about spots on here because it's not that important.
Hopefully you're not listening to this podcast from the side of the road because you have trailer problems. It happens to the best of us. It happens to all of us. Master Hitch. Scott Pinkley and the guys over at Master Hitch, they've been in business for more than 30 years, and they are behind you all the way. See what I did there? We're talking about everything you can possibly imagine. Towing equipment, fifth wheels, goosenecks, towing accessories, cargo carries, bike racks, wiring and electrical, and of course, boat trailers, trailer parts, 713-974-4440, 713-974-4440 or masterhitch.com. All right, boys. Well, that flew by. I love topics like this to get the studio audience and get my guys going like that, because I thought we handled that about as tactfully as we could have. It could have been worse.
That lasted about as long as Odu's house call.
It was about as tactful, because we're never going to be completely tactful on these things, but it was about as much as we could have expected.
We're more of an attack than attack.
I don't know if you have, Dean, you look like you had another thought on this before we move on to what would people do this weekend. It is going to get better the weather wise, but do you have something else?
No.
He has a lot
so.
more. He has so much more, but I'm so
You were
proud of
leaning
his
forward.
face.
You were leaning forward. You're looking at the camera, and I was like, "All right."
I was sitting here thinking, how does John know what I'm thinking about?
Dean was looking himself in the eye in his own webcam, saying, "Okay, that's enough. Stop. No more."
Well, the only thing I was thinking there for a minute was the only thing that we could have added to that was names, and we managed to avoid that.
That's what I'm saying. About as tactful as you could have expected. All right, guys. I just saw Camille in the back. It is National Giving Day. I saw your post. So certainly Heroes on the Water. I know if you want to go to the Bite Me group page, you can find a way to help. And I know we all are hopeful and encouraged that we can do some more of that, as we often try to do here on the podcast. But let's get to what would Scott do? What would Caleb do? What would Dean do? Scott, am I wrong on this? It actually, because we're going down again this weekend, and I was actually kind of encouraged, but I looked at it early this morning. What would you do if you had to go out, not necessarily Wednesday, Thursday, maybe, but certainly maybe Friday and beyond?
Friday in the afternoon doesn't look bad.
Mhm.
Yeah, wind's going to drop. That front comes in Thursday night into Friday morning, and then it starts dropping off. Still got a north wind, but it's lightening up, 10, 11 miles an hour.
Mhm.
Like Camille just said, if the timing's right, as far as
Yeah.
the forecast goes, they hit it pretty good. I mean, almost to the hour on this last one. They did really well. Saturday, I've got 3s and 4s all day.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
It's overcast, probably going to be a little misty, but get it done on Saturday, because Sunday we got another front right at daylight around here anyway. What it's showing 21 gusting to 30 at daylight. So, and back out of the north again. So you got that little window on Saturday. It's actually hitting on a weekend. I can't believe it.
And Dean, I've got a pretty strong incoming tide starting about noon, which is exactly what you were talking about earlier.
We have crazy high tide. Even the low tide has plenty of water on the flats for drifting. Even some of the shallowest stuff. I mean, even I looked at it just a minute ago. Right now, the tide is at 1.8 at the Port Aransas jetties, which has an abundance of water on all of the shallowest flats.
Mhm.
And the water temperature is warm. So, I mean, I don't see that on Sunday, what Scott is talking
No,
about.
down here it's not as bad. I'm looking at
Our
it too.
big,
Yeah.
and actually Thursday morning is a plus or minus quite a few hours. Thursday morning might be good. Friday afternoon, Saturday morning, yeah, that looks a little sketchy. But that's still, that's a long way out, to sit here on Tuesday and say that, Friday is going to be this or that. You can't really trust it. But, Saturday, Sunday looks good. Between now and then, even man, tomorrow looks great.
Mhm.
For the tide we got, we're a couple of days behind the drop in temperature. It's on the warming trends. You got sunshine, you got light wind. Tomorrow should be a great one.
Yeah, Caleb, you're going to be. You recommend? I should say, I don't know what you're going to be doing, but you recommend some wade fishing. Looks like Matagorda Midcoast might be some good wade fishing on Saturday, Sunday.
From what I understand, wade fishing has been productive. Last time we were in this situation, Scott told me I was stupid for trying to go red fishing 2 days after a front, but I'm going to go red fishing 2 days after a front on Saturday. That's happening.
What are you going to do?
I'm trolling around in a couple of feet of water and looking for schooled fish. I think they'll group up after this little front comes through, and the next one, I'm trolling around in a couple feet and just seeing what I can stir up. And if I can't, I'm going home. No, it's pretty simple.
Well, everybody listening needs to go ahead and book my guys here, Captain Dean, Captain Caleb, Captain Scott. You can contact them on any of the social media platforms. Just search their name, Facebook, Instagram.
And of course, all my trips this weekend just got canceled on short notice. Somebody backed out for the weekend. So,
oh, baby.
If anybody, it's either me and John or hopefully otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Oh, let me ask you something. Let me ask you guys something, and this may be
John was doing the thing where he was thinking of the next thing he was going to say, and he don't really know what the hell Dean just said.
Yeah, I did. So what did you say? Say it again.
I said it's either going to be me and you fishing or hopefully otherwise.
Hey, you and me both, pal. All right, so I got a question before we get out of here. I had somebody say, hey, do you have a Christmas present kind of thing? I want to take, I think it's their daughter's boyfriend, whatever. I want to give them a fishing trip. And so I gave them all three of y'all's names. And then I don't know what they kind of said they wanted to do it here in the near future. So you may be contacted, right after Christmas, January, February. But then they said this. They said, it's just him. And I don't know if they don't want to spend the money or whatever. They said, would you take him fishing? I said, absolutely, I'd take him fishing. And, if they can't book with you guys. And they said, well, we'll give you a gift card. And I said, no, you can't do that. I don't take any money for fishing trips at all, ever. So my question for you was, they said, we'll pay gas money. That's okay, right?
Yeah, sure.
Because I'm very much a stickler on that. I never take any money. The trips I donate.
This depends on if you talk about it publicly or not.
Okay, so what I just said, no, because like I said, I'm a stickler about that. I've given away so many trips, but I never take a nickel. And they said, and I've never been that guy, that asks for gas money or expects it or whatever.
If you're not making a profit, I think it's pretty tough to say you're getting compensated for your trip.
Just tell them bring the tacos.
Well, hopefully they'll book one of you three guys.
And on that subject,
I charge way more than gas.
I know you do.
Gas, tacos, and a little extra. But for anybody who wants to get a friend or family member, I do gift certificates where, they can call confidential. Whoever the person receiving the gift doesn't know, get the information, and I mail them a little stocking stuffer gift certificate, or they stick it in a card, and then they actually. So we do that at Christmas time. Also.
I'm glad you brought that up, Scott. You do that too, don't you?
No, Camille does.
Oh, Camille does.
I send that to my secretary.
And Caleb, I'm guessing your gift certificates are next level.
Oh man, I used to do and we don't do this no more, but I used to do like a full video, like, hey,
really?
So and so really cared about you. Here you are on Christmas morning, hoping y'all are having a great time.
Now you're doing OnlyFans?
It didn't work out.
You send them a picture of your feet.
My wife says I got ugly feet, but she says hers are pretty, and I think hers look like Fred Flintstone. So I don't know.
I'll take her word for it on that. I'll take her word for it on that. All right, boys, but book these guys. You're gonna have the time of your life, and they're gonna be terrific. Go ahead, Caleb.
Hey, I do want to, because it's a little bit new. Yes, the guys in the thing, we have Pat Gardner tonight. He just caught a bunch of big trout down south, and now it's cold up here. But starting next Tuesday is the 4 weeks of Christmas. So every webinar from now until 2026, we're giving away a turtle box, a baits reel, a Laguna rod, a Waterloo rod, one of those for each show. So
that's
big. Am I eligible to win?
No,
you're giving away trips. You and Scott both.
Oh, wow. I'm glad you brought that up.
Oh, right. I'm going to be absent that day.
That's right. All right, boys. Fun show as always. Appreciate everybody joining us here live on YouTube. And if you're listening on the podcast, subscribe. It'll be posted about 6 p.m. tonight. And you guys really appreciate you joining us. Lots of stuff happening with the Bite Me podcast. Stay tuned. We'll have more information on that as we move forward. You guys have a great week, great weekend. It's going to be good weather. Catch them up. We'll talk to you next time.
John, I learned something on every show, and listening to you, I learned that insecurity can be a big cause of a lot of commotion online. You reckon that's why the SIPs won't shut up about A&M, but you don't hear nothing from A&M about the SIPs?
No comment.